Well, we got two great guests in studio for this morning's Sheriff's Sit-Down, brought to you by our Community Credit Union, Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury, and Karen DeWitt, who's the Shelton Schools Safety and Security Director. Morning, gang. How y'all doing?
Morning. Good morning. Great.
Thanks for being here on a Monday morning. And school safety is a continuing conversation that we are having here on the radio. And Sheriff, you brought on today Karen DeWitt from Shelton Schools. Reason behind that? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, a little bit more background. Karen's just not the school director. Karen is retired from the Washington State Patrol. She's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and she's actually a retired captain from WSP. And even more importantly, she was my teammate back at the FBI National Academy, with the academy with me.
Wow.
So
amazing.
A couple of years ago, the school district, we started working with the school district about 2 years ago. I was with the Kitsap schools working on the Salem-Keizer threat assessment model. And I was trying to get the school districts in Mason County to be all on the same response plan. They were all different. And so we were able to start to bring that together. And when Dr. Apostle came in, he brought Karen in to take care of the school safety plans for the Shelton district. And so we've been working on that for a little over a year on those plans and putting that together with the Shelton district, and then also coordinating that with all of our schools in the district. So we're following the same game plan.
So, Karen, you came to the school district October of 16, roughly?
Yes, that's correct.
And what kind of skills did leading up through State Patrol, being a captain there, able to not only in the process of being the safety and security director to kind of teach the teachers and the students and everybody on campus how to be safer, but then what part of the Salem-Keizer model would then to implement into the school district?
Well, some of my background being a district commander, I was stationed over in the Wenatchee area, so every year with the wildfires, so I was really involved with the incident command system. We also had the fruit warehouses, so sometimes there'd be chemical releases and that type of thing, so we were constantly working as actually a unified command over in the area. Everybody worked great together. And then, of course, everything that the State Patrol does is emergency response related, whether it's collisions, serious collisions, fatalities, that type of thing. So that's where my background comes in that area. I was also the governor's head of the governor's detail for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
So I had the entire Capitol campus, the governor's mansion and such. So did a lot of site assessment for that project.
What are some of the things that you look at? That's interesting, site assessment and being on a large campus like the Capitol campus. How do you take those skills and move them onto a school campus when you look at possible open points, or however they're considered?
Well, when I first got here, I actually was tasked with not only the Shelton School District, but I had Hood Canal, I had Pioneer, Southside, Merriam Knight, and Greatview. So I did site assessments on all those schools, including the 7 Shelton schools. And so I ended up grabbing a couple of different site assessment spreadsheets and merging those together. And what I did is I walked through every school and looked at not only the internal safety areas, but also the external. So the external would be, are the outside doors and gates locked? There's so much to cover, like foliage. I mean, are there trees or bushes right up against the building so somebody could hide, and when you walk out, you could easily be attacked? So I looked at all those type of things. Internally, trying to just see if there's, for example, a custodian door being left open. So, they have hammers and saws and, dangerous chemicals. So that's kind of what I focused on there. Also trying to get teachers to lock their doors when they're out of the classroom, and some of them really didn't understand that. And so my explanation was, look, if there's an intruder and they're hiding in your classroom because you left the door wide open, once you walk in with your kids, you're now theirs.
Sure.
And so they started really understanding that. We're still working on that, but those were a lot of the areas that I looked at originally.
When it comes to, and I'm sure you can't divulge all your secrets on how you assess these things, but how has the Shelton School District improved since you've gotten here last October?
Every once, well, not every once in a while. I'm at the schools quite a bit, so I'll walk around and check external doors, and every once in a while I'll find one open. They're also doing drills, once a month. There's specific drills that are required by state law. So making sure that they're all practicing their drills. We also have an extra lockdown drill that we have introduced, and that's been since January. So, I'm tasked with making sure that they do those drills, and then they report back, and they actually do debriefings. So if they find that, a classroom window wasn't closed, or a cover wasn't over the window, those are kind of things that they go back and talk to their staff about. It's just an ongoing process, and we're working with the Shelton Police Department a lot. Working on the Run, Hide, Fight program, and they're going to be in the schools. The sheriff's office has been really involved. I mean, Alex Apostle has been on the radio station probably the last 2 weeks talking about the proposal for more armed police officers in the school.
Sheriff, what kind of other involvement do you and the sheriff's office have with the school district?
The main thing for me is when I first came here, I had done this for the Thurston County schools and done site assessments, and we had a group that went around and did that. And the first thing I noticed is that all the schools did everything totally different than the other school. Every school around had a different program, and the biggest part for me was trying to get all the superintendents and principals in schools to be on the same type of response plan, or at least same format, so it wasn't different for every time we showed up. When Dana Rosenbach got here, I had worked with the Salem Kaiser model, and I mentioned that, and she had worked with that, and that was a key part for me. She introduced that. We talked to district superintendents about getting a coordinated effort, so the responses are the same, so it's all a coordinated effort, and that kind of got that moving. And then when Karen came on board, we had been talking about I'm sure she probably took the same class, but there's a program called Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design, which is assessing, like she said, are there objects in front of a school building or somewhere where somebody can hide, and they shouldn't be, huge rhododendron bushes growing where people can sit there and watch the building or hide and things, and going through and moving those things around. And when Karen came in, it made a great coordinated effort for us, because she speaks the same language coming from the law enforcement business. And the other value to that was having Karen been a state trooper and a law enforcement officer that we'd worked with. She can come in and sit down and discuss things, site plans and things that we wouldn't normally discuss with somebody outside of the law enforcement business, just like kind of your asking the secrets. Well, it's not really secrets, but it was open for us to have Karen come sit down in a staff meeting with the sheriff's office, the city police department, and discuss those kind of things, where if somebody had been hired that was outside that realm, it would have made it more difficult.
The sheriff sit down this week. I know, Karen, you have to get to an 8 o'clock meeting, so we'll let you out of here. The sheriff sit down this week, every week, brought to you by our community credit union. Karen DeWitt, the Shelton Schools Safety and Security Director, and Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.